the last interview that we did talking about it, it was not very positive about the charter, but it did
Sure.
pass.
It did pass, yeah.
And so what does this mean to Clark County?
Well, so basically what it means now is and at this point in time, to be fair, there's still more about it. The Clark County Charter, I would say, is far enough ahead at this point in time that we can say pretty safely that it's going to be the law of the land here in Clark County, which makes...
The Columbian reported that it has indeed.
Has indeed.
Passed, so that must be the official news.
Basically, that's official news. What it means is that Clark County becomes the 7th county out of 39 in Washington State to decide to go down the charter path, which means they're taking the traditional commissioner form of government and they're going to what they call a home rule charter, and that's been written by the Charter Commission over the last year, and that was the last story that we did about it was after they had written it, some of the problems that existed with that charter. But the people have passed it. And what that means now for the citizens of Clark County is that they have to basically get ready to do some elections for some new county councilmen. They're no longer going to be commissioners.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a totally different form of government.
So
here locally.
current form of government is a county commission. There's 3 commissioners.
Three
now they're
elected
going to go
officials.
to a county council with, I believe, 5.
5, that's correct.
And so they'll have to go through an election, but these are now going to be part-time councilmen, county councilmen.
That's what it says initially.
Supposedly, it needs initially. And it really confers a lot of the power to the unelected bureaucrats. So there'll be just starts to push that decision-making down, which what we were critical on in the past is that we like this accountability when elected officials actually have to make a decision, the public can see it, and then the public can decide in the next election if they like the decision-making that's been going on. But that's not necessarily, it's going to be more obscured now in this new form of government.
Well, and it's what it means is that it's not going to be as important to the county council members who you elect. What the power base in the new charter is going to be almost primarily this person who's going to be in charge of the bureaucracy, who's taking over the executive role in the county government and going to be running the show. And so that person it's almost going to matter more who that person is than who you elect. And I hate to say that because that kind of discourages people from being involved in elections. And elections do matter. They have consequences. They just had a consequence in Clark County. This is the new form of government you have. But whoever that person is, it's going to be really, really important because their ability to, for instance, really make quite a damper on the economic benefits that Clark County has been experiencing lately is very substantial. There's a lot of power in that position.
Well, and it's not completely unusual because cities are run, and there's some rather large cities that are run with a council form of government.
Sure.
And they have strong mayors, weak mayors. They have elected appointed managers, city managers, that kind of stuff. So it can end up being kind of a similar type of deal. So it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to happen, but it certainly sets up the opportunity to have a dampening of.
And historically, that's been what's happened with most charter counties, especially if they have anything similar to this. Now, this was an unusual structure, the way this charter set it up, so the elected officials would be unusually neutered as far as their ability to make a huge amount of difference. But that being said, something to remember with a charter county is that unlike a commission form of government, you do have the ability after 5 years, I think the way the Clark County Charter set it up, that they can go back and review how the Clark County Charter is working and whether people are happy with it or whether they're not happy with it. They have the ability to go back and basically go through this exercise a little bit again and rewrite it again in 5 years, similar to what San Juan County just did a couple years ago.
But it's important that people remain, as always, remain involved in the election process.
Pay attention to what's going on.
Recruit and select the right kinds of candidates that they want to see on the council, and then hold them accountable for whatever decision-making ability that they still have.
Right.
And then as it comes up, we've seen big changes in charter review timeframes.
We have. Yeah. No, we've
San Juan County recently here a year ago, they went from 6, which was a weird number.
That was a strange number.
It's strange to have an even number on any kind of a body like that, but they had 6.
They did.
For whatever the reasons were when they set it up. And they decided that wasn't working, and so they peeled it back. So they have a charter county, but they have 3 councilmen. So it is possible to move the numbers around, and basically you can completely tear it apart and rework it when those review times come up. So it's particularly important for people not only to elect the people that they want as their council members, but when those review times come up to really pay attention and get the right people elected to help do the charter reviews.
Right, because that'll be coming up again before you know it in 5 years. And then what usually happens is you have that 5-year review and then you're on 10-year cycles after that. That's the typical structure that you see. And it's going to be very important, especially the first election for the first county council members. They really need to make sure, it doesn't matter what your political views are, you better get assertive people to be in there, because the structure and the power base in this government is going to be the bureaucracy by far. And I think to some extent that's true with most governments, but particularly in the way the Clark County structure is set up. So a lot of attention and assertiveness really needs to be paid by these elected officials over what that new county manager is going to be doing, because he holds all the power. He or she is going to hold all the power in their hands as to what this county does, and frankly, how it's going to relate to the average citizen out there in Clark County.
I mean, what the charter, I think, what we're saying is what it really does is it gives a lot of power to the bureaucracy, which has a tendency to grow government.
Right.
And as government grows, individual liberty is dampened and opportunity and prosperity is dampened. And the strides that Clark County has made in the last couple of years under their current leadership has really promoted jobs and opportunity and prosperity for all the people in Clark County.
And a lot of businesses coming here that probably wouldn't have come otherwise.
So it's not a foregone conclusion,
right,
but it's certainly the tables are starting to be tilt to where that opportunity and prosperity for the citizens, whether they know it or not at this point, will tend to get peeled back and the government will tend to grow. And so it's something that I think everybody here in Clark County should really pay attention to if they're interested in the future of their children and their grandchildren.
And they should be. And it really paying very close attention to what's going on here, because even if for the nature of bureaucracy is to perpetuate itself, and this charter is set up to perpetuate bureaucracy and expand it for sure. So as that bureaucracy grows, the problem is they need more tax dollars to support it. They need more funds to support it. They need more of a support, which usually means your money, to support it and help it grow and get bigger. And I think the goal of the citizens should be, in some way at least from our perspective, would be to try to suppress that natural tendency of the bureaucracy to grow and expand beyond where it needs to be. And there's a lot of, even if everything goes down the wrong path, it still takes a few years for it to take effect. So in 5 years, you should have a pretty good sense of which direction Clark County is going with this charter. And every citizen should be engaged and involved, in these elected officials as county council members now should be engaged and involved in doing the same thing and making sure that they're going down the right path and not the wrong one.
Yeah, I think so. And so as the charter unfolds and as all these issues become important, keep tuned in to theCUV.com and we'll cover all of those here for you. Thank you again to theCUV.com for allowing us to use the studio. It's been a real pleasure. And thank you to my colleague Glenn Morgan for helping with this roundtable discussion.